Hi everyone, it's Cass. Welcome back to my channel, What Cass Read. Today I'm going to do a video that I've been thinking about filming for a while and it was requested on my Twitter. So if you haven't seen already, I did explain that I wasn't filming for a couple of months. I had a family tragedy emergency in the summertime and I just needed to take some time off from filming, but I am now back playing catch up. So I made an announcement on Twitter that I was gonna finally begin filming again, and I put out a question of which videos would you like to see from me? Wondering what you'd been missing from me, what kind of content you want to see. Today I'm gonna film one of those requests. So this video is gonna be about the books that I want to read before 2019. I remember at the beginning of the year, I made like 3 videos of books that I wanted to read within 2018. I think I did a really great job on my fantasy one. Surprise, surprise, I actually think I got through most of those. The first one, this is gonna be like a really quick couple of first books, but I do want to mention them. So this is Winter, written by Marissa Meyer. This is the 4th book and the final book of the Lunar Chronicles series. I actually began the Lunar Chronicles series in January, and it was really surprising to me. I was just looking for like a fun YA book to read, and Cinder ended up being my pick, and then wouldn't you know, I read the next 3 books. But Winter and I just haven't been hitting it off. I really liked Cress. I was okay about Scarlet, and I really did enjoy Cinder. So you would think that now that I'm with all these characters, I would be more into it. So I would really like to finish this book up before the end of the year, so that way I can say I've read the entire Lunar Chronicles series within this year. Oh my gosh, how many videos have I put this book in? This is The Well of Ascension. This is book 2 of the Mistborn trilogy. And this was another book that I started and I just put it down. Like I feel like these books start off a little bit slower, and then the Brandon Sanderson formula is to put a lot of stuff at the end. And this one, how many pages did I get through? 162 pages. So I just kind of put it on pause and I was like, I'll get back to it. And wouldn't you know, it's October and I haven't gotten back to it. The tagline on the back of the book says that the evil has been defeated and the war has just begun, which was something that I did say in my Mistborn review that surprised me about that first book. Was I thought we were going to have something really long and drawn out with our main evil villain from book 1, and that didn't happen. And so now I'm really curious, now that I'm talking about this book again, now I'm really curious to see what exactly is the underlying evil. Hopefully I will be able to finish this before 2019 and get my questions answered, written by Brandon Sanderson. So I have to do this to try and like put color back on my face so I'm not all washed out. But of course, I watched football earlier today, and now I'm running out of light because if you didn't know, I use natural light in filming. So that's where we're at. All right, the next 2 books that I want to finish before the end of 2019. This is Saint's Blood, written by Sebastien de Castell, and then this is Tyrant's Throne, also written by Sebastien de Castell. These are books 3 and 4 in the Greatcoat series, and I picked these up on audiobook. I had been looking for something audiobooky to get into, and thankfully I ended up listening to a preview of this audiobook, and I was like, yes, this is the kind of narrator I've been waiting for. The narrator is so good. I was listening to it on Scribd. I am definitely going to be getting to the end of these by 2019 because I have been consuming more audiobooks on my commute. The first book in this whole series is called Traitor's Blade, and this is the Greatcoat series. So there were, at one point in time, these peacekeepers and traveling magistrates of this realm called the Greatcoats, and they upheld the king's laws of the land, while the dukes and the peoples of the realms squabbled amongst themselves and that sort of thing, and the traveling magistrates upheld the king's rule and the king's law. But then the dukes of the realm ended up overthrowing the king before the first book began and put the Greatcoats out of power, and so now we have these old, washed up 3 traveling best friends who are Greatcoats traveling together, trying to right these wrongs. The reason why this works really well in audiobook format is, number 1, the narrator has really great voices for everyone, and then number 2 is that there are parts of the book that are told in flashback, and I just really enjoy the flashback segments because the narrator just does a really great job transitioning his voice to match the current time and the flashbacks, and it's so great. It's funny. So yes, I didn't mean for this to turn into like a review of the Greatcoat series, but I do plan on finishing these 2 books before the end of the year, and I'm actually gonna be really sad when I'm done with this because this has been a fantasy series that I have really enjoyed this year. It's been a good time. It's been a fun time with that book series. Okay, this book, this is Bloody Rose, written by Nicholas Eames. This is his 2nd book that he has published. I discovered him actually earlier this year when I was reading books for the BookTube SFF series. He was one of the authors that was nominated for the Best Debut category with his first book, Kings of the Wild. I really enjoyed that book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I have a full review of that, so I can link that for you. So Bloody Rose is his 2nd book, and in the first book we have these mercenary bands who are like the greatest fighters of the realm. They're kind of like rock bands. There's a really great music rock parallel. The main characters have to go on a mission to rescue someone's daughter, and it's this whole big thing, and it's really fun. So this takes place a couple years after the events of that book. One of the characters who comes in the end of that book is now leading her own mercenary band. It's not told from the perspective of Bloody Rose, which I actually really appreciate. This is told so far from, I don't know how old she is. She's like 18? Maybe? A young female character who dreams of getting away from her father, and she has been hired on as a minstrel for Bloody Rose's band. And that is as far as I've gotten. So I actually did start this one too. I think I got to page like 30, and I was traveling for work, and I was at the airport reading this book, and then when I got on the plane, I just ended up sleeping. So this is something that I have really enjoyed so far. Even though it was only 30 pages in, it was a really good setup, and I do plan on continuing this and finishing this before 2019 as well. Alright, this book. This is Lethal White, written by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. This is the 4th book of her Camoran Strike series, and these are mystery novels that follow Camoran Strike and his partner Robin. That's about all I can really say, because they each have a different storyline and a different mystery in each of the books. If you read The Casual Vacancy and then you read the Camoran Strike series, you can see the similarities in the writing style, just the harshness of London and these seedier parts of life in England and in London. And of course these are mystery novels, of course these are like really extreme, but I've really enjoyed them. These books are the only like mystery novels that I have really gotten into, and I don't know if it's because they're J.K. Rowling's books. It has made me think that I could really get into some mystery novels as a genre. This book, this is The Bear and the Nightingale, written by Katherine Arden. I think the last time that I showed this book in a video of mine, everybody and their like best friend's cousin's mom posted a comment on that video saying that I absolutely needed to get this book read by the end of the year. Everybody said that this book was just superb, was magical, and I've just been waiting for the weather to get a little bit colder because of how wintry. It's called the Winter Night Trilogy. Also, spoiler alert, I read Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, one of my most anticipated reads of 2018, and that had some Eastern folklore influence and some wintry vibes, so I think this one will also be right in that wheelhouse. And then the final book. This is Dragon Keeper, written by Robin Hobb. This is book number 1 of the Rain Wild Chronicles series. So, welcome to my channel if you've never been to my channel. I love Robin Hobb. She is my favorite author. She has catapulted to favorite status. This is book number 10 out of a 16-book series. And the Live Ship Traders trilogy were books 4, 5, and 6. And they still remain my favorite trilogy that I have read this year and probably for a very, very long time. Robin Hobb is my queen. So anyways, this is book number 1 of the Rain Wild Chronicles. So this is, we're farther along in the Realm of the Elderlings, which is the gigantic Robin Hobb series. And maybe I should just film a whole video on Robin Hobb, so that way I can explain all the different chunks. So without giving too much away, as you can see by the name Dragon Keeper, the dragons have returned to the world, but something went wrong when they hatched. They have come back, they're decrepit, they're not the gigantic, beautiful beasts that they once were, and they're in the care of the folks of the Rain Wild River. There's 4 books in this series, and the next 4 books of this series are about the Rain Wild peoples and how they care for the dragons and what happens, and I cannot wait. So this is Dragon Keeper, written by Robin Hobb. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books that I would like to read before the end of the year. I think that's completely doable. I want to know the books that you want to read before 2019, and please put them in the comment section below just to let me know what you've been up to, let me know what you've been reading. Thank you so much for subscribing and sticking with me while I was not filming. If you want to keep up with me, then you can follow me on my Instagram and Twitter. It's @WhatCastRead. It's the same as this channel, so it's super easy to find. Thank you again for tuning in. You guys know how these videos end. I'll talk to you later. Bye.